We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, both initiation and healing are transfer of energy. Both initiation and healing are transfer of energy, the actual energy. Through the process of initiation or inner healing. Initiation is the process of inner healing. Through initiation, the Master can enter in you and begin the process of transformation. This can happen only if you are ready and receptive. For this, deep trust is needed, more trust than it is needed in love. Because you do not know what is going to happen. You are completely in dark. Trust is the lamp in the darkness of your understanding. Trust is the lamp in the darkness of your understanding. Only a master knows what is going to happen and what he is doing. He knows, but you do not know. Not only that you do not know, there is no way for you to know. And there are things that cannot be said about what is going to happen because the human mind, with human mind there are many problems. One problem is this: if something is said before it happens, it will change the happening. Therefore, it cannot be said. I repeat this again so that you can understand it. Only a master knows what is going to happen and what he is doing. He knows, but you cannot know. And there are things about things that cannot be said what is going to happen, because with human mind there are problems. One problem is that if something is said before it happens, it changes the happening. It cannot be said. There are many things the master cannot say to you. He can do it to you, but cannot say them to you, cannot tell them in advance what is going to happen. That doing what he does is initiation or the beginning of the process of inner healing. He actually moves in you, in your body, in your mind. He cleans you and changes you. The only thing is required is your total trust, because without it there is no opening, and without the opening he cannot enter you. Your doors are closed, and unless he enters in you, the process of inner healing or transformation cannot begin. You are always defending yourself, defending your words, whatsoever it is. Life is a struggle, and this struggle is for survival. You want to survive. This struggle closes you. You are closed, afraid. You are afraid to be vulnerable. Someone may enter you. Someone may do something within you. So you shrink. You shrink yourself. You remain closed, just hiding behind, constantly defending yourself through your words or anything else. In initiation, you lose this defense. This armor of defense has to be thrown away. You become vulnerable. Only then the master can enter you. The same thing applies to inner healing. For example, it is just like a love act. You can rape a woman, but you cannot rape a disciple. You can rape a woman because it is a bodily rape, and the body can be raped and entered without any consent. Without the will of the woman, you can rape her. That is what rape is. It is something forced. The body is material. Things can be forced on it. But mind is not matter. Something just like this happens in initiation. The master enters your spirit, not your body. Unless you are ready and receiving, the entrance is not possible. A disciple cannot be raped because it is not a bodily question. The healer cannot enter you forcefully. The one who is to be healed cannot be raped because it is not a bodily question. It is a question of a spirit, and you cannot force entry into a spirit. No violence is possible. So when the disciple is ready and open, just like a loving woman, inviting and receptive, ready in a deep let go, only then can the master enter and work. And centuries of work can be done in moments. You may not be able to do what you may not be able to do in many lives, which can be done in a moment. But then you have to be vulnerable, totally trusting. You do not know what is going to happen and what he will do inside you. A woman is afraid because the sexual act is a journey into the unknown for her. Unless she loves the person, unless she is ready to suffer, to carry the burden of child, to carry the child for the entire period of pregnancy of 9 months and then make a life commitment to it. Unless she is ready in love, she will not allow the man to enter the body. because it is not simply her body, it is her whole life. When she is in deep love, then she is ready to suffer and sacrifice. And to sacrifice and suffer in deep love is blissful. But the problem with the disciple is deeper. It is not question of the physical birth alone of new child. It is in fact the new birth or rebirth of the disciple. He is going to be reborn. He will die in a certain sense, and he will be born in certain different sense. And it is possible only if the master enters him. But master cannot force. No force is possible. And the disciple can only invite it. And that is the problem. A very great problem in his spiritual disciplehood or the process of healing, because the disciple goes on defending himself or herself, goes on creating more and more armors around him. He behaves with his master in the same way he would behave with anyone in the world. The same defense mechanism goes on working, and then time is wasted unnecessarily. Energy is wasted, and the moment is delayed, which can happen right now, this very moment. And this is natural. And sometimes even the great masters, disciples have missed the opportunity. Anand was one of such disciples. He lived with Buddha. He was Buddha's cousin and older to him. Before he took the initiation, he asked Buddha 3 things. He said, "Tomorrow I will be initiated. And then, right now I am your elder brother, I can ask you something. So I ask you for 3 things before I take the initiation. The first is, that I will stay in the same room where you stay. I'll sleep in the same room. Next, you will not meet anyone without my presence. And the third, you will not send me anywhere like you do with other monks for spreading the message of peace." He was one of the greatest disciples and the nearest, but he could not attain to awakening while Buddha was alive. He was the only one who was present when Buddha was speaking. All the scriptures, whatever has happened, Anand had heard it. When it came after Buddha, the scriptures of Buddha to be scripted, Anand was not allowed in that Bodhi parliament, the parliament of the awakened ones, because Anand was not awakened. Although he has heard every single syllable, he cried. Buddha was with Anand for 40 years, and Anand could not attain to awakening. But many who came after Anand attained, and this became the problem. And Anand was one of the nearest, the closest. He was sleeping in the same room with Buddha. He was moving with Buddha for 40 years continuously, He was like the shadow of Buddha. As much as he knew about Buddha, even Buddha might not have known, but he could not attain. He remained the same. And the very ordinary thing that he asked, the boon, was the only barrier. He was an elder cousin of Buddha, and this created ego. Buddha died. A great council, the parliament of awakened ones, met to write down whatsoever Buddha had said. It had to be written then. Soon those who lived with Buddha would be no more, and everything has to be recorded. But the council, the parliament did not allow Anand, and only he knew the great experience, the statements of Buddha, his life, his biography. This was all known to Anand and no one else, as much as Anand knew. But the parliament decided that Anand could not be allowed because he was still not enlightened. He could not record Buddha's saying because an ignorant man cannot be believed in any way. He could not deceive, but with an ignorant man, nothing is reliable. He may think that something happened, and he may relate it authentically as far as he knows, but he is a man who is not yet awakened. Whatsoever he has seen or heard in sleep, in that state of not awakening, that is a state of sleep, could not be believed. So only those who would record, who had become awakened, they decided. Anand was outside the door of the parliament, and he was crying, lamenting. The door was closed, and he remained just outside by the door for 24 hours, continuously crying and screaming, but they would not allow him. For these 24 hours, he was constantly weeping, and then suddenly he became aware. What has been the barrier? Why he hadn't been able to attain when Buddha was alive? What had happened? What had been the barrier? Then he went back into the memories. 40 years long living with Buddha. He remembered the first day when he came to him for initiation. But he had one condition. That's why, because of that condition, he missed the whole initiation. He could not be initiated because he made a condition. He came to Buddha and said, I have come to be a disciple of yours. Once I become your disciple, you will be the master, and I have to follow whatsoever you say. I will have to obey. But right now I am your elder brother, and I can order you, and you have to obey. You are not the master, I am not the disciple. Once I am initiated, you will be the master and I will be the disciple. Then I will not be able to say anything. So before I become disciple, these are my 3 conditions. Say yes to these conditions, then initiate me. The conditions were not very big, but condition is a condition. And then your surrender is not total. With a conditioned surrender can never be total. They were very small, petty conditions, very loving ones. He said, one, I will always be with you. You cannot tell me to move anywhere else. While I am alive, I will be your shadow. You cannot order me away. Give me a promise, because later on I will be just a disciple. And if you order me away, I will have to follow. This will be a promise given to an elder brother, and I will be with you. You cannot tell me to move anywhere else. I will just be your shadow. I will sleep in the same room where you sleep. This was the first condition. The secondly, whenever I will say, meet this man, you will have to meet. Whatsoever your reason for not meeting, you will have to agree. If I want that someone should be given your darshan, spiritual presence, darshan is a spiritual presence, you will have to give. Second condition. And thirdly, if I say someone has to be initiated, you cannot refuse. Grant me 3 conditions. Promise me and then initiate me. I will not ask anything again, because then I shall be just a disciple. So these 24 hours after Buddha passed away and the congregation of the awakened ones, the parliament gathered, he remembered this while he was crying before the door of the parliament, outside the door of the parliament. After he went back into his memories, he suddenly became aware that the initiation was not there because he was not receptive. Buddha had agreed. He said, okay, and he followed the 3 conditions throughout his life. But because of the conditions, Anand missed. The nearest one missed. He was very close to him, but he missed. And the moment he realized, he became enlightened. That which could not happen with Buddha happened when he was no more. It was after his death he surrendered. If there was a surrender, even an absent master can help. If there is no surrender, even an alive master who is present cannot help you. So in initiation, in any initiation or inner healing, as initiation is the process of inner healing, surrender is necessary. I will continue this in tomorrow's session because that will be slightly different. I have to, after this initiation, this initial talk, I have to enter into the process, mantra initiation. So I will leave this for now. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.